Be in the know with unlimited access to IBJ and Inside Indiana Business. Our in-depth coverage of all things business means you'll always be completely in the know. Subscribe for just $1 a week. Get started now at ibj.com/trial offer.
Realize when enough is enough.
Hi, I'm Jayson Manship, host of Authentic and Agentic, presented by TechPoint. Every week on this show, we break down what's happening in AI and what it means for how we work, lead, and live. Join me for a human-focused conversation that keeps you ahead of the curve. This is the Authentic and Agentic podcast on the IBJ Media Podcast Network.
Hey guys, Jayson Manship here with Authentic and Agentic, IBJ's podcast on AI, where we talk about the human side of artificial intelligence. Today's episode is going to very much be about the human side of stuff. I'm peeling back the curtain a little bit to tell you about some of the challenges and frustrations I've been dealing with. You'll hear me tell the story in detail later, but the last 30 to 60 days for me have been some of the most challenging of my career, not because of any deadlines or anything, just because of the opportunity that is in front of me. And I try to unpack that for you and walk through it. It's been tricky. It's certainly been tricky. We'll get to that. Before we do, I want to get into the news. There's a few stories that crossed my radar today that I think are really important. These are things that we're watching as the world moves on, a couple of which are, we're going to talk about big tech today. So the big tech companies. First, Apple, probably the biggest or one of the biggest tech companies out there. A lot of rumors and stories coming out about their new AI glasses that are going to be announced. And so Apple notoriously is very coy on what they share. They don't put a lot out there. They don't tell you a lot about their specs of their hardware or any of their announcements until their CEO goes on stage and does some big dog and pony show and shows it to you. And it's like this ooh, ah moment, right? Steve Jobs was notorious for this. And so rumored AI glasses coming around 2027. And they have said it's coming. We just don't really know much about it yet, other than these are not the Vision Pros, those big goggly things that they have. This is not that. So these are like wearable glasses like this, similar to the Meta glasses that exist today from Ray-Ban or Oakley. But here's the thing. Think about this for a second. When Apple entered the watch market, they kind of changed the entire market, not just the iWatch, right? Not just the digital watch market, but the whole watch market, because they created a premium technology-based product that competed not just with the other digital watchmakers, it competed with anybody wearing a watch. And I think that's what you're going to see from their glasses product. They just spend so much time, effort, and energy on product design that I bet this is going to be just a 10 out of 10. And so just be prepared for that. It's coming. They're talking about it. It's been hitting the news a lot lately. And as we think about that for AI, like 20 years, guys, we've spent staring at screens. Think about that for a second. If we move past that and suddenly AI is built into our face, it's not implanted in our heads. It's not context. It's literally sitting right here, right? You can get prescription or non-prescription. But, where are we headed with privacy and attention and human interaction and all these issues? Like, Facebook was really kind of first to market in a reasonable way. There's other smaller startups out there. And I have the OG Meta glasses, and they're great. They're heavy. They have, they're not a product company notoriously. They've tried and failed on a few different hardware devices. But the Ray-Ban glasses are great. They're just heavy. I don't wear them a lot because they hurt my nose. I tried the newest model when I was out in Vegas a couple weeks ago, and they're cool because they have like heads-up display where you can actually see on your screen facts and things. It's pretty cool. And so when Apple gets this right, and I think Apple's the company to get it right, I think it changes everything. And so don't be surprised if they come out in 2027 and by end of 2027 or 2028, 20% of people, 30, 50% of people have these things on. How does that change the world around us? I think it's going to be a big thing. Second story I want to talk about is Nvidia just rolled out the Cosmos 3. This is their own foundational model for the real world. Nvidia, as you know, they might have been the first $1 trillion company. They just ballooned because they are the folks building the chips and the models and the tools behind AI, right? And so they have rolled out their own open model called Cosmos 3, trained on 20 trillion tokens. And why this matters is because it goes away from the computer and towards the real world. So this is designed specifically for robots and autonomous vehicles and drones and things that are out physically interacting in the real world. And it now opens the door for hardware folks to leverage their technology to open source it so hardware people can develop faster. We're going to see more companies spin up and more applications get built in the physical world, robots, etc., because of this opportunity, right? This is a big deal. It's teaching AI reality. It's teaching it how to understand the world around it. It's going to get smarter and smarter and smarter in a phase we haven't really seen, right? And so let me kind of phrase this if I can. So large language models, the ChatGPTs of the world, have taught machines how to think, which is scary enough in its own right. These world models like Cosmos are going to teach the machines how to act and not just think. I think that's a big deal. My third and final story before I get to my deep dive on the challenges I'm facing with the opportunity problem in AI is I'm calling this the $1 trillion AI race. And so there are 3 different companies attempting to become $1 trillion IPOs. Literally meaning when they go live, they will be a $1 trillion market cap, market valuation company. The first today, Anthropic. I'm recording this on June 1, so Monday. You guys will hear it on June 2. Anthropic just launched their IPO or announced their IPO, and the valuation is approaching $1 trillion. So there's a very real chance that Anthropic's going to hit $1 trillion. OpenAI, ChatGPT, is also preparing its own filing, and the expectations there are $1 trillion. And then the one that's furthest along in the process, SpaceX, which is tied into Elon Musk's overall ecosystem, bigger, broader AI story there with XAI and all the bits and pieces for that, could be $1 trillion company there too. So imagine a world where currently there's 10, maybe 11 publicly traded companies worth more than $1 trillion. Nvidia, Apple, Microsoft, Alphabet, which is Google, Amazon, Meta. I mean, there's not a lot of companies worth $1 trillion. And we may see 3 brand new companies go public at that milestone. That is a wild, wild thing to consider. It took us a century to create our first $1 trillion company, and now we're discussing adding 3 more simultaneously, almost happening overnight. That's what AI is doing. So when Apple wants AI on your face and Nvidia wants AI in the real world, and Wall Street is preparing to mint, 3 different $1 trillion companies, guys, I think it's a reminder that we're no longer talking about the future. We're talking about the infrastructure and the next economy being built right now in real time. Wild to think about. We're going to kick over to a quick break from our presenting sponsor, TechPoint. TechPoint is jumped in the boat with us and is helping us tell this AI story. TechPoint is leading the conversation at the Indiana level, helping build a tech ecosystem here in the state and empowering people to have conversations around AI and technology enablement throughout the state. And so they are an awesome partner, great to work with, and they are the folks that help make this podcast happen. And then secondarily, we're going to play a bit from our friends at Indiana Wesleyan. Indiana Wesleyan is a university here in Indiana. Amazing school. I've met a lot of people that have graduated from there, all great. And so what I love about Indiana Wesleyan is they are absolutely leaning into the world of AI and higher education. And so thank you to TechPoint. Thank you to iWoo. We will play a quick sponsor break, and then we'll come back with my deep dive onto what I'm calling the opportunity problem for me personally with AI. AI isn't just changing jobs, it's changing who gets hired. TechPoint's new brief, AI amplifies the need to address the experience gap, shows how AI is changing entry-level jobs and how employers can take advantage of this moment. Download the brief and find out ways to get involved at techpoint.org/AI gap. AI is transforming every industry, and Indiana Wesleyan University is preparing professionals to lead that change. iWoo offers a Master of Science in AI and Data Analytics, a graduate certificate in AI Business Innovation, and an Applied AI Analytics concentration, all designed for working adults. Flexible, online, Christ-centered, and grounded in biblical ethics. Discover how iWoo can help you find the way forward. Visit indwes.edu. Hey friends, Jayson here from Authentic and Agentic. I am excited to talk to you today. This episode is going to be a little different than most. I am coming to you on the human side of AI today. And I'm going to try to peel back some layers in and just talk to you honestly on some of the challenges that I've been facing. I think it could be a cool way to share some of my challenges that maybe some of you can relate to. And if you're out there on the front lines building and creating cool tech with AI, I think maybe you're experiencing some of the same pitfalls or problems that I am. And so I just wanted to drill into that. And so, when I started this podcast, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm involved in a lot of different things, a lot of different companies. When I started this podcast, everybody asks me about AI. What tools are you using? What are you building? What's working? How's it working? How do you optimize this? Which model is better? All these various questions about the state of AI and the technology. And I'm always happy to talk about that stuff. I have lots of thoughts, as you've unpacked if you listened to this show at all. But today I'm coming to you with a different problem. Honestly, this has probably been the most stressful 30, maybe 60 days of my career that I can remember. I'm sure I've had some stressful moments in my life. I've worked on a lot of really big projects and had a lot of really big things happen. And so this isn't that. This is not because there's a huge deadline. This is not because I have some major issue that I'm working through. This is like a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy. This is a problem that's compounding because of me in a lot of ways. And this isn't, honestly, it's AI driven. And I want to talk about that. And it's not because of it's not because of the learning curve. It's not because of the technology. It's not because I can't figure out how to build something. It's honestly kind of quite the opposite, right? The problem I'm running into is it's not the technology. It's the people. It's me being able to lead. It's me, right? And so let me dig into this. In the old world, I think I'm a builder. I'm a starter. My wife would tell you I'm a starter. I'm someone who's very good at getting going and not always so good at finishing, right? Because that's how entrepreneurially minded starters think. At least that's what I tell myself so that I don't feel bad about not finishing every project. Maybe it's ADHD. I don't know what it is. But I'm very good at starting things. In doing so, historically, I've been kind of limited by the world around me. Right? Ideas are constrained because you have budgets, you have needs, right? I need a developer to do this. I need a designer to do this. I need more time to build this. And so my ability to get oversubscribed was limited in a lot of ways by the world we lived in, right? I didn't have infinite budgets. I didn't have developers just laying around to help me solve problems or designers to just come in and do anything I needed to do. And so I could only focus on a couple things at once, probably always still too many things at once, but I could only focus on a couple things at once. AI has created a monster in me because now, honestly, I feel like I can build almost anything. Apps, workflows, automations, tools, and every time I think of a problem, I could build an app to solve that, right? And I do. I jump right in, I get started, I go build it. And it's wild how fast the world moves. If you've heard me talk on this show, I use Claude, I use ChatGPT, and I use Replit. And I build apps for everything. If there is a problem in one of my businesses, I go build an app for it. It's just more efficient. I can workflow and workshop processes and solve problems in minutes that used to take months, weeks, months to do. Cool. Thank you, AI, for allowing me and others like me to have the ability to do that. The problem is as Peter Parker's Uncle Ben said, with great responsibility, or with great power comes great responsibility. Sorry, my brain went haywire for a second. With great power comes great responsibility. So now I have 10 different AI projects in motion. Honestly, any of them could be a full-time job if I leaned in. Any of them could create big opportunities and be like game changers. So it's not that I'm drowning in work, it's that I'm drowning in opportunity, which is something that someone like me really struggles with because I see the potential in everything. And when the restraints fade away of, I don't have the budget for this, I don't have the developer resources or the designer resources or the research time or the all the pieces that go into building a thing, when that fades to near zero, I'm struggling legitimately. I feel like my to-do list is growing, not shrinking, because every time I build something, it's like, oh, it'd be cool if we just added that feature. It'd be cool if I just did this thing. Every creation creates new possibilities for more creations. And that's very hard for me to manage personally. As I mentioned, my wife would tell you that I'm very good at starting things. I think that's probably why she loves me or likes me or was attracted to me, whatever, right? I think she sees that I'm very good at doing. I go do. But I've notoriously always been the, shiny object guy that chases the next thing. That's just how I'm wired, which is really cool if you're a visionary and if you're at the tip of the spear and you've got a team of people to come behind you. I've had success in business because I've been the kind of visual leader that's out there charging forward, and then I build a team of people around me to help execute. Well, right now, I feel like AI is helping me in those places, but I don't have a team of humans helping me manage my AI. And so I just logged into Replit. I have 35 different apps that are in various stages of built. And a good thing, bad thing. I mean, at the end of the day, like I've built some really gnarly stuff that's saved a ton of effort and resources, but now there's all these things that exist that have to be maintained. I love the idea of possibility. I love the idea of building and growing. And AI kind of makes that good and bad for me, right? It reduces the friction so I can go build. It certainly lets me start more things, and to go faster on building things, I can patch holes quicker. I can see progress overnight, which is really, really neat for someone like me. So the question I'm asking myself is it making me more productive, or is it potentially enabling behaviors that I should have had better control over anyway? Is it making my weaknesses brighter? Think about that for a second. Right? If you're building with AI and you are a self-motivated person staying up late at night and vibe coding and building and building and building, is this good or bad? I think it's both, but I think we have to have that hard human conversation that says, am I doing this correctly? What can I do? How do I audit this? What do I think about? How do I make this better? Because I think about it this way, like I've been told I'm entrepreneurial, right? I'm like a speedboat. I'm going a million miles an hour. I move fast. And when I turn, the tide doesn't necessarily turn with me. So the people that I'm pulling on the tube behind the boat don't turn as fast as I do. And AI is just putting a supercharger on my boat, right? My ideas are even faster. I can get to V1 or MVP even faster. I can pivot even faster. And that wake isn't turning. The people around me are still experiencing that last turn before I'm on to the next one. So who sits in this wake? Employees, staff members at my companies, partners and people I work with. My customers have to experience some of this. My family for sure. My wife and my kids get to see it firsthand. And again, the question I'm posing in this entire conversation is good or bad? I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to be as transparent as I can in the strengths and weaknesses that I'm running into here. Being able to build an app overnight is wild. It is a superpower and something that I don't know that I can thoroughly explain. Being able to build something in my head, turn it on, and watch it come to life is something that I honestly never thought would happen, right? When I went to school and taught myself how to code, I thought I didn't see this coming. And here we are. But now I have 35 half-baked things that all could use that next level of TLC. And so part of this, I think, comes down to learning how to manage ourselves, the human side of ourselves, when these tools are exposed. I know all of us struggle with different things. Some of us don't want anything to do with change. People like me are on the opposite side of that, where I'm changing so much, I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing. And that's the question I'm trying to pose today. And so let me just kind of back this up a little bit and talk about the adoption problem that I'm facing. One of the big struggles I have is I build something. Again, building isn't hard anymore because you can build faster. You know what is hard? Training and documenting and communicating and building adoption inside of an organization. Getting your team to come along. It's not easy, right? I mean, we have a lot of team members in my companies that are very good at doing their jobs, very good at it. Well, the jobs are changing underneath them because of the speed at which this technology is happening, and I'm driving that. I am the one implementing new tools, new processes, and it's it's causing friction, frankly. And it's not a perfect solution. I don't have some magical rollout plan for you guys where it's like, hey, here's how I got everybody to come on board. It is a daily lesson of, in some ways, pulling people up a hill with you. And in other ways, stopping and listening and slowing down and figuring out what their fears or concerns are. Or, hey, you know what? I didn't think about that. And here's where I struggle personally as a builder who sees what's possible with AI. So many humans, maybe you, think about the constraints of life, right? Like if I asked you how to do a thing and you did it every day for your whole life, and let's just say that goes away, you wouldn't even know how to envision what could happen because your brain is constrained in thinking about things through the lens of how you've always done it. Well, I look at AI and I say, you don't have to ever consider how you ever did it before. We can build this from the ground up the exact way to optimize everything. And people can't get that. People don't naturally fit there. And that's really challenging because it's like, dude, we could build the next thing. You don't have to do it the way you've always done it. That doesn't make any sense. And it's going to be this is where I would challenge you as a listener. Let's start working on training ourselves that way, right? Let's think about stuff outside the box. The constraints of yesterday do not exist anymore and will not exist in the future. So figuring out how to let go of that is an enabler and potentially a problem generator, right? It can both help us build in new ways, but we may experience the problem I'm trying to explain to you today where, man, we've created a monster in some ways. I have so many things out there that it becomes tricky to do, right? And when you think about the team members, I'm talking here about the adoption side of all this. Most people don't want another tool. Most people don't want another process. Most people don't want to log into something. They want less friction. They want more certainty. They want clear expectations. And what I am learning as I am forcing these into my teams is that I don't actually think the people are resisting AI. I think they're resisting uncertainty. And because I'm living in this, let's build it in the air. Let's build the airplane in the air as we fly it. That's really uncomfortable for a lot of people, right? They don't know what that looks like and they're not used to it and it's not comfortable. And so I have to reevaluate and rethink how I bring them along for the ride. I think that's wild. Everybody's talking about AI, but very few are actually executing. If your team is still experimenting with Copilot, you're already behind. Axia Technology Partners turns Microsoft AI into real business outcomes and fast. Not prompts, not pilots. This is production-grade AI embedded into your workflows. As a Microsoft certified AI solutions provider, Axia TP delivers Microsoft E7, the full stack of security, identity, and AI, implemented, governed, and scaled. While others are testing ideas, Axia TP's clients are reducing costs, automating operations, and moving faster than their competitors. This isn't about trying AI, it's about operationalizing it, and now. If you're serious about results, not experiments, visit Axia Technology Partners and start executing. Visit www.axiatp.com. That's AXIATP.com to learn more. You know, one of the things I was thinking about as I was putting this episode together, I used to have a hobby. I hope all you have a hobby, right? I love my family. We spend a lot of time together. I have lots of things that I do and enjoy. But one of the things I've noticed as I'm evaluating life and as I'm thinking through the lens of, man, I'm pretty stressed out with work, is that the opportunities are limitless, which means that I always see more things to do, which means that I have less time to do the things that I used to do just to unplug and relax and enjoy. So I built an app. I love the app. It's cool. It's great. Oh, here's a cool feature. Oh, here's another feature. Oh, you know what? Let me just build a whole backlog in the app so I can track all the cool ideas that I have so I can build more features. Oh, well, what if we just build a whole nother app? So now I have two apps with two different sets of potential features we could someday build. As I sit here, I have 4 different apps running, all building features. And as I said not long ago, my list is getting longer, not shorter, because every time I build something, some other idea pops up, and its creation is creating the next thing, right? And it's hard to keep on top of because the things that I thought would never get done, man, it would be cool if I added this feature to our website, but I just don't have the developer to do that. Now I do. It would be really cool if we redid these parts of our infrastructure, our system, so that it's easier to optimize. Well, now I can do that. Hey, I'd like to update all the product descriptions on the 300,000 products we have on our e-commerce store. I can do that. I can do all these things, which has become the problem. Think about that for a second. Like, just because you can doesn't mean you should. That's a real thing. I believe that. But I think I'm personally, and I'm hopeful that this is coming across in this conversation with you, I'm struggling. I'm struggling because I don't know where to stop. When I talked to the folks at Notre Dame, Adam Cronk told me, and this is one thing I'll probably always remember, to what end, right? When you think about the AI stuff, to what end? Like, what is our goal? And I don't know how to turn it off. I don't know how to say, you know what, I've built enough. I need to unplug. My barometer right now is my wife and my kids, right? Turn off the computer, go outside and play soccer with your son. Great. Totally agreed. We did that yesterday and my knee still hurts. Love it. We went camping this weekend and it was amazing because I got to unplug and spend time with my kiddos. Tonight, when I'm done working, I'm going to go home and turn on my computer and vibe code 3 more projects that are still mid-flight, because all of them add incremental value to the quality of life in our company, to our bottom line, to our operational efficiency. Like, all of them make things better. And it's like spinning 50 plates at once. And it's hard. It's really hard to do. And so I think about like burnout. I think about we as humans. I mean, vacations are a real thing. We need time away. Camping was great for me this weekend. I need a 7-day cruise, probably, honestly, something that I can just totally unplug from. But, we need that. I used to have a hobby. I own a game store. I play a game called Magic the Gathering. It's the greatest game ever invented. I'll fight anybody to the death on that. It is the greatest game I have ever played, and I love it so much. I own a game store. We sell Magic the Gathering cards. I haven't played a game of Magic in many months. I haven't built a Magic deck in probably a year, which is sad. And it's not because I don't want to. It's because I have a hard time turning off the builder side of this AI bug that I have. Because if I go build a deck for Magic the Gathering, that's going to take me all night to do. That's 3 or 4 hours of lost productivity that I could be building something that increases the success rate of our company. Think about that for a second. Like, how do you bifurcate? How do you turn one on or off? For me, I can do it with my family. I can say, you know what, I'm going to the soccer game. I'm not touching this. That's it. We're done. Fine. But when it comes to like a chosen hobby, something I just personally enjoy doing versus this, here's what I think. I think building has become my new hobby. I think I get the joy out of seeing stuff come to life so much that I just want to build the next thing. So when I'm sitting on the couch or laying in bed, or nowadays I'm actually building on my phone. I'm using Replit mobile and I'm building mobile while I'm out and about. Man, it's intoxicating and concerning at the same time, right? Because I used to get my phone out and check my emails or check my text messages. Now I'm checking in on my agents. I'm literally opening my phone to see if my agent finished that task so I can publish it, so I can have another agent go quality control test it. Right? And here's the thing. I don't think this is burnout. I think it's curiosity. But the question I'm still struggling to answer is it healthy? I don't know. And that's really what prompted me to have this conversation with you guys today, is because, I live in this world where I have removed the barriers that have slowed me down in the past to the point where I can build most anything very quickly. I can dream it, I can build it, and I can turn it on. But just because I can doesn't necessarily mean I should. And, creation and adoption are very different. So building it versus getting my team to use it is very different, right? As a leader, I struggle with how do I roll out and implement these things. I love talking to people smarter than me about this topic that have covered this, because, some people are slow to dabble and very thoughtful and methodical. Others like me, just a couple different episodes. I talked to Thomas Rector from thumbprint, formerly screen embroidery. So Tom, analyzed and thought through all the AI implications before really rolling out some AI policies and building stuff. He's got his thumbprint, get it, on the industry, and he's paying attention, and he wants his company to be kind of at the forefront of that. And so he is managing AI rollout and feature builds and all this stuff thoughtfully with time and energy and such, right? I think of the Eli Lilly guys who built, it's hard to relate to in some ways because they have such an infrastructure and so many competent, capable team people inside of their organization that they can think about the world differently. But they're really strategic and thoughtful, right? That's how that works. And then I think about the Adam Brown episode. Adam's a good friend of mine. He is, if you haven't listened to it, it's the S-Gridworks one where he's talking about changing the power industry. And Adam, I went over to his house, a couple weeks ago, and he has built a 20, 30 person org chart inside of AI where each agent has its own job and responsibilities. And he's using a home brewed project management system with like a Kanban board, and they're assigning tasks to each other and building the tasks and reporting back and checking in on the tasks. And so, he's pushing this thing to the limits. And I guess my question is like, which is the right path? Is it different for each of us? Is there some conversation we're going to be having years from now about how addicted we were to building or how unhealthy it was to be so invested? Or is this like the land grab moment in the 40s where people are going west to try to be the first ones there to get gold, right? I keep hearing story after story after story of if you're first building these things, like the opportunities are there. And I see that firsthand in my business. I'm building tools that are increasing our sales, our profits, our scalability, our quality of life. Like those are very real things if you run a company. Who wouldn't want that? But to what end? It's wild. I thought AI would help me build things faster. It has. I think what I have learned this week in preparing for this episode is I think AI is helping me reveal who I am, my strengths and weaknesses as a human. And I think that's the conversation we all need to be having internally with ourselves. Talk to your spouse, talk to your therapist, talk to your kids, talk to your whatever. But if I'm pushing so hard, building, and I'm missing everything around me, I think it's amplifying my strengths and it's amplifying my weaknesses. And I think it's taken this time to really pause and think about that as I consider, where the future goes here. I could very easily burn out. I don't think it's burnout because it feels like creativity. I thoroughly enjoy it. But if you go X amount of time and you're, pulling away from your friend groups and you don't ever have time to go do something and you've turned off your hobbies, some part of that is unhealthy. And I think that's the conversation we have to be having. So sure, it's bringing out my strengths, creativity, curiosity, problem solving, vision. Those are all great things. But prioritization, patience, documentation, knowing when enough is enough, those are things that I could work on. And those are things that I have to work on. Those are not things I can outsource to AI. Those are hopefully wake-up moments for me as I explore what I'm doing well and what I'm not doing well. I am building really cool stuff. I would love the chance to sit down with any of you and show you what I'm building and how I'm doing it. Unfortunately, I don't have time because I'm building the next thing. So my time is currently consumed by building the next thing. And I'm hopeful that I realize when enough is enough. Maybe this is that moment for me. I don't know what it looks like for you. And maybe this episode doesn't resonate at all. Maybe to you, technology is too much and it's too fast and you're not really sure about. I'm just trying to share my story because I have been pushing and building, and I am pausing and reflecting and saying, where does this, to what end? And I think it comes back to a good leader. I touched my chest there like I'm a good leader, but I think if we all want to be good leaders, I want to be a good leader. I'm not sure I am one, but I want to be a good leader. And I think a good leader is self-aware and reflects on the strengths and weaknesses. And when I look out there and realize that I'm bringing my teams plural, along at speeds that are too fast without giving them the training or documentation, that can be toxic. I'm asking them to jump in the airplane that I'm building in the air, which means they're risking themselves as part of that process also. And so if we're serious about staying human in a world of AI, I think this is that moment for me. It's about the people. It's about understanding that every new thing that I create creates a change for somebody else. And that may not be comfortable for other people, and it may not be something they want. I may be able to look forward and see that and say, this is what we need, right? And the Rolling Stones famously said, you don't always get what you want, sometimes you get what you need. So I can appreciate that as well. But here's maybe the lasting point is, I don't think AI has really created my strengths and weaknesses. Those existed before AI. But I do believe it's amplified the volume on both sides. I think it's turned my strengths up. I can build more, and I think it's amplified my weaknesses further. Hopefully this is a helpful conversation. I'd love to hear from you guys if you are struggling with this, or if you have other thoughts. Maybe, again, you're on the totally opposite side of the equation. You're like, I can't even get started on this stuff. Great. I'd love to hear that. I'm sharing with you what comes natural from my heart of the challenges I'm battling. I think these are the conversations we have to have. And I think, we have to be willing to talk about this stuff, because, man, it is intoxicating. It is so cool to see how much we can build if we understand it and push. But to what end? See you guys next week.